This is the Reds POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Cincinnati Reds. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good evening, Reds fans, and welcome to another edition of the POSTCAST, brought to you by Locked On Reds and the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Tim Daniel. I am a lifelong Reds fan. I've been podcasting about this team for 5 years at publications such as Late Night Reds and The Riverfront, and I want to thank you all for spending some time with me tonight as we discuss an ever-frustrating loss yet again as the Cincinnati Reds lose to the New York Mets 5-4. If you were just checking my show out for the first time, welcome. We are so glad to have you. Please be sure to hit that notification button here on YouTube so you can not only get my show after every game, well, the 21 we have left, but you can get Jeff and Steve Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds as well. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try to book the trip of your lifetime going to 5hourenergy.com/5hewin.com for more info. Masters tournament is excluded. On tonight's show, more of the same. Cincinnati Reds do what the Cincinnati Reds do as they lose a game with multiple opportunities to win it. Andrew Abbott continues to see some struggles, and are we back to this that we see on a year-to-year basis for him? And Tyler Stevenson had a nice moment. About all I got to say about it. So, yeah, we got that as well. All that and a whole lot more. Let's get started.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Bases loaded in the 6th. Couldn't come through. Bases loaded in the 9th. Couldn't come through. That's it. This is pretty brutal. And tonight sucked. There was a lot that went wrong tonight. Obviously, starting down 3-0 certainly doesn't help anything. And that's the part that's really irritating. But obviously, other things too. Starting with 1, 2 chances with the bases loaded, and you couldn't get anything done. 2, your superstar player watches strike 3 down the middle, again, with a bat on his shoulder, with a chance to win the game. Not to mention the superstar before that struck out as well, when you had bases loaded and no outs against Edwin Diaz, who had to change his shoes in the at-bat, and you couldn't come through. Yeah, this is irritating. And 9 hits tonight looks good, but 11 strikeouts again. This team is really awful. It's really bad. And once again, more managerial decisions that don't make a lot of sense. Having Espinal running there is you have him go in there in that situation. All you can do is get these little hits that you think is going to kind of get you to go a long way, and they couldn't make anything happen. It's more of the same. We've had this story, we've had this conversation a million times. I don't know how many more times we can have this conversation about a game like this. It's, oh man, they had their chances and they left too many guys on base and they couldn't hit with runners in scoring position and they lost. I heard Gavin Lux on Mookie Betts' podcast about how the city really needs it and we're young and we're going to figure out. They're not young anymore. I'm sorry. They're not young anymore. I mean, the Ellie McLean group, I understand McLean missed a year, but they're coming up on 3 years in the big leagues. At some point, you're not young. Tyler Stevenson's been in the league since 2020. I mean, I get it. The Marte, McLeans, and Ellies, they've had to deal with their own stuff. Ellie's been here through everything. I mean, he's played nonstop, which is his problem. It's just super irritating. And then, the bullpen tonight was good. Tried to give the game away. Connor Phillips certainly made things difficult on himself. Nick Martinez was good for his couple innings. Billy Pagan was solid in his inning. I don't think there's a lot that's going to kind of make this benefit. So at this point, this is just a thing where this front office, this management, they got some decisions to use. Yeah, Diane, I completely agree. Young's not an excuse anymore. Williams is here. TJ Friedel's been here with the Reds for a good time himself. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, you're adding to my point there, and I appreciate that. But whatever's happening, there's going to be a lot of things that they look in the mirror and figure out this offseason, because how this has gone in between August and now, I mean, this is the homestand that's the most important homestand of the season. They've won one game on it. They've had, and Friedel's catch was cool in the first inning, but they were already down at that point. So, I guess it's one of those things. But, the lack of homers, obviously the lack of power through the year, the lack of moves made. Like I've said, obviously I like the moves they did make, but it's just kind of a thing where, you can't just sit there and hope to God that the same thing is going to happen over and over again. And I don't think their manager's really done them a whole lot of favors either. I talked about that when I was on with Steve the other day. Yeah, Josh is right. I mean, Key Bryan has been a positive. That's been the positive of August and September is how good he's been for the Reds. And certainly I think that's going to continue. I think, had a hit and a walk tonight too. So yeah, I know a lot of people are just kind of at the turning forward to, football season starting on Sunday. I'm sure this crowd might go down a little bit starting then. I get it. I can't blame anybody. But yeah, this has been frustrating and this has been really hard. And I'm not having fun watching the Reds anymore. The only time I'm having fun when it comes to Reds is coming here when I'm hanging out with you guys. So yeah, there's that. You know who else wasn't fun tonight was Andrew Rabbit. Had a really, really rough game. Let's talk about that more right after this. This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpick. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix has you covered with their nicotine and caffeine-infused toothpicks. For nicotine users, Zippix provide a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix can be a helpful tool as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. Available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligrams and 3 milligrams nicotine options. And if you don't need energy without the crash, then our caffeine toothpicks are a game changer. I've used the Zippix for big meetings and long drives. They give me the energy without the jitters, and the flavors like peppermint watermelon ice actually taste great. Go to zippixtoothpicks.com. Use code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That's zippixtoothpicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks. Time to fuel up and turn up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime-flavored shot brings the iconic taste of golf course favorites to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies and making great memories with friends, it's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. For me, I have these long days with my day job, and then the Reds kind of play these late games. So 5-Hour Energy gives me that extra boost to get through the day. Make sure I come on here for the postcast, and I'm ready to give you guys my best energy. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The great ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf trip in the USA. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament ends October 31st, 2025. Want to give a shout out, of course, to our everydayers here on the postcast. Thank you so much for spending some time with me as we discuss the theme of the season. Coulda, woulda, shoulda with the Cincinnati Reds. As always, please be sure to hit that notification button here on YouTube so you can not only get our show after every game, but you can get Jeff and Steve Monday through Friday on Locked On Reds. You can also check out Locked On MLB Daily. They give you the daily game recaps every single day after every game and watch them so you don't have to. And if you can't follow us along on YouTube, please be sure to hit that podcast app of choice. We are on all of them. Let's get to our turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Mark Vientos hit a home run in the top of the third to make it 4-0, and it felt like at that point this game was over. Although the Reds did make a nice run at it, it just felt like Andrew Rabbit just didn't have it. And tonight is more the same. August, September, Andrew Rabbit, not when he's at his best. And this common theme we're seeing in these couple of years now between 23 last year, this year, with all these young guys who I'm trying to make the case that there's not that excuse anymore, is that they kind of just run out of steam at this point. And I get it. Baseball's really long and people get really tired and it's really frustrating. It's a long year and you got to play your hardest 162 times a year. I'm sure that's exhausting. But at some point, that's the difference between the Reds and the Brewers and the Mets and the Cardinals and the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks and the Padres and all these and the Giants right now. That's the difference between them and all these teams. They know how to manage these teams. They know how to take care of themselves. They know how to be ready when it's the dog days, when it's like, oh my God, we got to get to the ballpark again. The Reds don't have that. And I think really, I mean, to be honest with you, one of my big things I'm looking at next year to add to this team is a veteran leader. And like, no, not Austin Hayes. Like I'm talking, and there's not another Joey Votto out there. I get it. But they need that veteran leader who's been around for a long time, who has had success. And, you know, they've had those guys in the past, right? I mean, those guys like those 2010, 2011, 2012 teams, they won because they had like their Scott Rowlands. There's not going to be another Scott Rowland out there. I get it. But Scott Rowland just being that guy to kind of help them pick themselves up when days were bad. And Andrew Abbott needs a guy like that too. He needs, I mean, they doesn't have to be another starter. Obviously, I think they're pretty set on starters. But they need, you know, they need guys that are going to kind of help them kind of piggyback up, start better routines, get better in this situation. Seth, don't even make that joke. Yeah, exactly. Don't joke about Jeimer Candelaria being available. Last I heard, he was playing for the Columbus Clippers. So I don't know if that's still true or not. But at some point, you know, maybe I'm just fooling myself thinking that maybe sometime this will click with them. I don't know. But Andrew Abbott obviously tonight didn't have it. And it's very irritating because of how good he has been all year. And in his last few starts, he's been pretty rough. The walks obviously are frustrating. So in Arizona, obviously only goes 4 innings because of 6 runs. Last week against the Cardinals, goes 5 innings, has 4 walks. And then today can't get to the 5th without giving up 5 runs. So the Andrew Abbott wall is here. I don't know. Is Nick Lodolo going to be recovered from this virus enough to make his next start? Hopefully. And then you obviously Hunter being back, and Hunter's looked really, you know, he's had that rough start with the Dodgers game, but they do that to a lot of people. But I think I've been pretty happy with what we've gotten from him so far. Apparently I have to pick a locked on player of the game. I don't know, man. Is there one?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I guess in fairness to being his first game back and making the biggest hit of the game for the Reds, I'm going to have to give it to Tyler Stevenson. QB1 back. That was nice. So it was good to see for that. And obviously had a huge hit to bring them within 1, and they couldn't do anything with it because that's what they've done all year. They'll get you believing, and then they'll crush your soul. Maybe it's on us. Maybe it's our fault, but maybe it's just because we care too much. Maybe it's just because I care too much. Josh, this locked on player of the game is Joey Votto. Joey Votto is always the locked on player of the game. Don't get it twisted. In my heart, at least. But I felt like, you know, having Stevenson back obviously gives them a big gap, and his power, obviously, and what he's able to do. You know, he can do the things Trevino can't. Trevino can do the things he can't. And I think that's what makes them a really good catcher duo. And one of the few benefits of this team right now. So nice to see him back there as well. But I've always keep Brian Hayes, like I said, had a hit in the 9th, had a big walk today as well. Got one of those runs. Was the tying run on third base with no outs in the 9th inning, and they couldn't bring him in. That's life as a Reds fan, I guess. But with that being said, I'll go ahead and wrap this one up because better days maybe are ahead, but probably not in 2025. The Reds are losers tonight to the New York Mets, 5-4. The Mets have 5 runs on 10 hits, no errors. The Reds have 4 runs on 9 hits and 1 error. Your winning pitcher tonight is David Peterson. He is 9-5. Andrew Abbott is your loser. He is now 8-6. And Alexis Diaz, without a cleat, picks up his 26th save of the year. And the Reds and Mets are back at it tomorrow as Brady Singer takes the hill for the Reds. He is 12-9 with a 4.08 ERA. He'll be going against Jonah Tong, who'll be making his second big league start. He is 1-0 with a 1.8 ERA. First pitch is at 6:40. Obviously, they're honoring Marty Brennaman tomorrow as well. So there will be a couple things to look forward to, I guess, tomorrow if you're into that kind of thing. But everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I'm Tim Daniel. Have a great evening, and we'll talk about a win again one of these days. I hope.